I'm soaring, soaring. My branches scrape the sea of stars. My roots dig deep into this world of ours, and I'm grounded, grounded. My reality is what I perceive, what I attract into my orbit. Worries fade into the haze. The air feels different this time around. Different this time around.
Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about the October 14th eclipse that's coming up, that's going across the West Coast and into central US, and how important this eclipse is in regards to Persephone, because it's actually happening on the Spica star. This is the Spica star, and the Virgin, Virgo in Latin is virgin. She is also, you know, the Virgin Mary. She's the divine feminine in the sky, Virgo. And she represents service, right, to others. And she also represents Persephone. And the other terminology for her would be Proserpina. Okay, so Proserpina and Persephone are the same. It's just in regards to Rome or Greek interpretations. But what's very interesting is the Washington, D.C. is built to this triangle. This is called the Spring Triangle. These are the three stars in it. It's Arcturus, which is the King Arthur star, which would be the White House in Washington, D.C. And this is in the constellation Boots. Over here, we have the Capitol building, which is Regulus star. This is one of the fixed stars in the sky. And here we have the Spica star, which is where the eclipse is occurring. Now, this would be the Washington Monument. This represents the Washington Monument. And the Washington Monument, being an obelisk, if you go into the history of obelisks, the original ones were squat obelisks, which were smaller, and it represents the phoenix's nest. Okay, so that's the symbolism of an obelisk. I know there's other symbolisms of it with the phalanx and everything, but if you go back into history, the obelisk was really a squat obelisk, which is a shorter version of them. Okay, so you could also say it's the tree, but I'm going to go into another interpretation of what this location in the sky is and how it ties into the golden bough and how that is necessary to get to the Elysian fields, okay, which is in the underworld. That is the freedom place. Okay, so this star, this eclipse is really, really important. You can see we have Venus on the Capitol building. Now, if you go into Washington, D.C., you'll see, you know, George Washington going through the portal, right, on the Capitol building. And that has all to do with love and having an open heart. Enki is right on the Zabijaba Ascension star. So this is very important because Enki wants, you know, in mythology, he wants humanity to awaken to ascension. And Mercury is almost in conjunction with this eclipse, okay? And the moon is right there. And she holds this clump of the bough. This is what I'm realizing. It's the bough. It's the golden bough, this little clump of vegetation that she holds. I thought it was myrrh and tried to find mythology on that. And I really understand now, and you'll understand when I go through some of the stuff, how it is the golden bough. Now, there's a famous painting with Washington, George Washington, you know, mapping out Washington, and you can see they're pointing to the triangle, and then his son is holding the compass. Okay, so this is really important because the compass, if you go into geometry, makes a triangle, right? You use the compass to create a triangle. That's another topic, but the whole purpose of this video is to show you the importance of this eclipse. Okay, and he's pointing, you know, to the Washington Monument here. This is the way I see it. You know, this is the, you know, the bottom of the triangle. So in Freemasonry, I found this quotation about the importance of the triangle. And, you know, we know George Washington was a Freemason. So I just want to read this to you because this, you know, shows the significance of the triangle and why they mapped the United States all to this, you know, triangle. Okay, so explain the significance of the 7 planets, which are enclosed in a triangle that forms the rays of the exterior circle. Okay, so I know a triangle is created by the compass making the circle, okay, and are enclosed in the grand triangle. The 7 planets, according to philosophy, represents the 7 principles, passions of the life of man. Those passions are very useful when they are used in moderation, for which the Almighty gave them to us, but grow fatal and destroy the body when let loose. Therefore, it is our particular duty to subdue them. Explain the 7 passions to us. Number 1, the propagation of species. Number 2, the ambition of acquiring riches. 3, the ambition to acquire glory in the arts and science among men in general. Number 4, superiority in civil life. Number 5, joys and pleasures of society. 6, the amusements and gaieties of life. And 7, religion. Which is the greatest sin of all man can commit and render him odious to God and man? The answer is suicide and homicide. So murdering or killing yourself, this is the greatest, you know, sin. Okay? Which signifies the 7 cherubims, which names are written in the circle called the first heaven. They represent the corporal delights of life. Corporal meaning material world, the corpse, which the Eternal gave to man when he created him, and are seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, tranquility, and thought. So that's interesting because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, the number 7, right? All to the senses. Now we always think of the senses as, you know, only 5 senses, but here where they're really telling us tranquility and thought are the other 2 senses. Right? What signifies the figure in the moon, which we regard as the figure or image of conception? So there's a rabbit moon, right? There's a figure on the moon, but the conception is the seed of life, right? And the solar eclipse with the moon on the sun making this kind of like black dot, or you could say a snake eye, or on a dice you'd see the same symbol, right, for the number 1, right? The purity of nature, which produces the holiness of the body. So this is all tied to the moon, and that there is nothing imperfect in the eyes of the Supreme. Okay, so this is just showing us the significance of this location of this eclipse because it's in the triangle, the spring triangle of Washington, D.C., the Washington Triangle, right? So here you can really see it. This is Pennsylvania Avenue on a triangle, which goes to Regulus, the Capitol building. Independence Avenue, okay, to get your independence, you know, you've got to get that golden bough. And then, you know, this also ties to the White House, right? Which is the star actress up in Boots. Okay, so we have this spring triangle. And I had listened to a video many years ago about the Freemasons explaining on the History Channel how Washington, D.C. was aligned to this spring triangle in the sky, which is supposed to be over the United States around August 13th. Above, you know, overhead, and at, I guess, the noon hour. And yeah, so that's really important, showing how important Virgo is, the Virgin, right? The Mary, the divine feminine is really what we're talking about. Okay, so here we have the eclipse. It's actually happening like at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And like I said, this is Persephone, and she's holding this wheat, but now I know it's the golden bough. And Persephone's right there too, the asteroid. Okay, so this is, you know, really heavily representing Persephone's journey to the underworld, and also, you know, the whole story of the golden bough. You know, I don't know if you know about the Golden Bough Society, but it's based off of the golden bough myth. And here we have the 2 doves in the tree, and Aeneas has to go and get the golden bough, and then it grows back, but the 2 doves are there. We're just going to go into this little mythology here a bit. Okay, so before entering the underworld, Dephobie tells Aeneas he must bury the musician Misenus and also obtain the bough of gold, which grows nearby in the woods around her cave, which must be given as a gift to Proserpina. This is Persephone. Okay, so this is the other name for her. The queen of Pluto, king of the underworld, the queen to Pluto. Okay, because he, you know, kidnaps her and takes her to the underworld, and her mom searches for her. It's really representing the whole season, right? How we have, you know, darkness in the winter, and then she gets reborn again in the spring. It's really, these mythologies are just referencing to our cycles and our sky. Okay, so in the woods, Aeneas' mother, the goddess Venus, sends 2 doves to aid him in this task, a difficult task. And these help him to find the tree, the doves do. So when you see the 2 doves, 2 mourning doves, they represent love. It's because Venus sent them, and she's love, right? Everything relates to the planets. When Aeneas tears off the bough, the second golden one immediately springs up, which is a good omen, as the Sibyl, who is like a prophet or a sage, has said that if this did not happen, the coming endeavor would fail. Okay, so then it goes on here. The Trojans led Cornelius, carrying out the funeral rites of Misenus, allowing Aeneas to start his descent into the underworld. The Sibyl shows the golden bough to Chiron. That's not Chiron. This is Chiron. He is like the ferryman that gets you across the Styx River, okay? Who also then allows them to enter his boat and cross the Stygian River. It's not the Styx, the Stygian. I think that is the Styx River, it's just different terminology. On the other side, she casts a drugged cake to the 3-headed watchdog, Cerberus. And in Canada, when COVID was happening, everybody got CERB payments, you know, so it's just, they're using the mythology everywhere. So who swallows it and falls asleep? Once in the underworld, Aeneas tries talking to other shades. Now, shades are like holographic, or you could say spirit beings that aren't, you know, in corporeality. They don't have a physical body, but they're still seen. Okay, so they use the word shades, and listens to the Sibyl speak of places like Tartarus, which, where he sees the large prison. So Tartarus, is where he sees the large prison, fenced by a triple wall, with wicked men being punished, and bordered by the fiery river Phlegethon. At Pluto's palace, Aeneas puts the golden bough on the arched door and goes through to the Elysian fields. This is really important. The arched door brings you to the Elysian fields, the abode of those who led just the useful lives. So people that live a good life go to the Elysian fields. And it's really weird. I had an animal and I named Elysian, and I had no idea why. I just liked the name. And now I understand it is like, you know, it's the freedom place. It's like where you become free. So Anchius, the father of Aeneas, is finally located in the green and sunny Elysium, the Elysian fields, where the beautiful river Eridanus flows. Aeneas attempts 3 times to hug his father, but has no success as his father's shade is like thin air. So you can see your deceased relatives, but you can't physically touch them, like, or they're empty dreams. It's like they're holographic people, okay? But you do get to go see them. So I wanted to go read the last little part of this. In spite of this, they have a happy encounter, and Anchius tells his son about the nearby river Lethe. Now, the river Lethe is where you become forgetful again before you come back to Earth. The river of forgetfulness, on the other side of which were a multitude of spirits waiting to be born on Earth. So that's the memory wipe. You go into the river Lethe. It's kind of like maybe the baptism, like you get, your memories wiped and then you come back here. Over there, where those who would be the descendants of Aeneas are those who would live in the future Roman Empire, such as Romulus, Camillus, and Marcellus, and Caesar. And Anchius gives advice to Aeneas and then leads him to the Ivory Gate, one of the gates of sleep, by which they return to Earth. So you fall asleep again, you lose your memory, and then you come back. So this eclipse occurring on Saturday is really about your ability to take the golden bough and have that golden bough to bring you to the Elysian fields. That's what it's about. But some souls will go into the underworld and they won't have the bough, maybe because they're not the rightful souls. They've done bad deeds, and so they're going into the underworld. So this is really kind of, again, the same thing. You choosing your path and what you believe you deserve. Now you're the judgment of yourself. Whether you've been living a good life in a caring life for others, and a just life. So this eclipse is going to affect, I do believe, however you perceive yourself, right? So if you think you're not a good person, maybe you're going to go to the underworld and go to Tartarus and feel like you're in a large prison. The prison is created from yourself and your own beliefs. So if you don't believe in yourself, or you think yourself is bad, you're going to maybe put yourself in a bit of a prison right now. So everything's duality. So, but I just really like blown away that the golden bough is tied to Virgo holding that bough there, like that she's holding that, and because that's what Persephone gets. She has this bough that she gets, and that's her bough. So this is really cool, right? So there's a Golden Dawn society that all the esoteric people were really part of, and it's because of James Fraser, who wrote the Golden Bough story. Now, James Fraser, if you watch Outlander, which is happens to be my favorite show, the main character's name is James Fraser. And now a lot of poets and writers always reference back to the Golden Bough because of his James Fraser ability to connect philosophy with religion and spirituality, and kind of bring it all together. He was trying to tie everything together, and science as well. He was trying to tie it all together. Of course, it got poo-pooed, but in the end, people totally respect it, because that's what this is all about. It's about connecting the dots and realizing everything's connected. Okay, but it is a story. The mythologies are part of what we're living right now. Obviously, Israel is a big part of that mythology with Armageddon, and all tied into the book of Revelation. We see that unfolding right now. So we're starting to see, these prophecies happening in the sky, but we also see them, the biblical prophecies happening in our reality. So it's really a special time. And for me, I am just so busy creating the world I want to see. Okay, so I'm starting to I got an agronome to come to my farm to start to figure out how to manage some overgrown apple trees, because the apple tree is all part of this myth, right? The golden apple that you've got to get to. And, to start to share those apples with people and try to, use, so I'm not just throwing food on the ground and just neglecting it because it's too much work, trying to find people that will come in. This is the type of stuff you have to do, because you have to be on that frequency where you're trying to help society in some way and find your tribe, right? So don't just, make yourself isolated because you're awakened soul. Just go out and start to help people, or start to offer your services to people. And then you'll start to find that your judgment of yourself will be very correct, because you're actually making an effort to help others. And that's what Virgo is all about. She rules the 6th house. She rules health. So if you don't do service to others, you're not going to feel good. You're going to have anxious stomach problems, right? With Mercury, and she is ruled by Mercury, and this eclipse is happening with Mercury in it, right? Almost in conjunction with it. So it's going to affect your stomach if you don't have this service in a way. It doesn't mean overserve at a detriment to yourself, but it means you have to somehow give of yourself, right? That's what Virgo wants you to do. She rules the 6th house. Yes, it rules the house of health, but it's also service, right? And a long time ago, they would say it was slavery, if you overserve, right? So that's how you get the golden bough, by being full of love, okay? Because that's what the doves represent, that Venus is using to guide Aeneas to the tree and getting the bough. So that's the story. So, here we have, we see this artwork here in the 17th century. We see, the golden bough here. That's probably Venus, and she's taking Aeneas to Chiron to get into the ferry boat, the ferryman, to cross the river. Okay, so you can see this, and then all the souls are over here waiting, okay, on the banks. So fun stuff. We're living it. It's happening. So I hope you guys are in good spirits, and bliss to you. And I'm sorry I haven't been around a lot. I'm trying to put a wood stove in my cabin. It's been a bit of a nightmare, but it's happening. And yeah, just been really busy tying up, winter ends, getting prepared for winter here, getting wood in, all that stuff. And then I'm going to get back on the computer and start, finishing up all everything that I'm want to get going here, the book, and also the rest of the classes. So I'm excited because things are happening. So bliss to you all. And don't forget, if you want to know your life path, check out my website and give me a shout and get a reading, so that you can understand what it is that you need to do to work on to help balance yourself, so that you can stay ahead of the game. Okay, so you got to know thyself to be able to accept yourself, and to help heal some of this trauma that you chose to work through in this lifetime. Okay, signing out. Take care.